I'm probably going to label this one confusion, this video that I'm shooting, because that's what I've been thinking on ever since I woke up that I want to talk about in today's video. If I don't get sidetracked, which Lord knows me. But anyways, one real quick thing is like getting irritated over tiny things that try to not get irritated over, and it's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, used to when I suffered from OCD, like really, really bad, like horrible bad, and I'm scared that I'm gonna end up doing that shit again, because I'm losing control of everything else, and so I'll control that shit, and that's not a healthy way to be. God, it's not. It's like I've lived it, so I've seen the negative of it. But, it's like I was gonna shoot the video outside. I go out and neighbors out there, and I don't want to do that. And then I don't want to do it to a degree because it's quiet, and so the neighbor has company, and I'm like, you know. And then my dog got up here beside me, and she does this thing where she will incessantly lick the same damn spot on her back because, like, she just sheds there a lot and everything. It's like, what is it? I think it's it's because she's, got Chinook in her, and so it's a sled dog mix, and so, like, where her back's at and everything, like, her hair's thicker and stuff, like, especially right at her ass, I guess you'd say. She'll just sit there and she'll lick herself for like 5 damn minutes in the same damn spot, and it is so annoying. And there's nothing there. Believe me, I've checked hundreds of times. There's nothing there. I think she's got a nerve that's probably shot, in all honesty. And so she'll just lick it and lick it and lick it and lick it. And it's always after I take her and walk her and she uses the bathroom. She'll do it for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then she'll finally stop and be on her way. And right now she's laying here with her head down because I got onto her for it because it irritated me. But anyways, back to the original, like, reason that I'm shooting this video, dealing with confusion and everything. It's like that's where I'm at with my life. It's like I'm confused, I'm lost, and I thought to myself, that's what I'm going to talk about in my video, and I'm not above needing God. And no one should ever be above needing God. And I'm not. God, believe me, I'm not. Not above it at all. God, I'm so irritated right now. They're outside talking, so my dogs are gonna bark. But, anyways, I might end up shooting this later. I don't know. Because that just infuriates me right now. Because that's one thing about living here is, like, literally, the window that's behind me, it's like it don't even exist half the time. I can hear everything. Oh my God. But, anyways, it's like I'm really confused. I'm really lost because this girl that I fell in love with, I really, really like her. Like, really, really damn like her. Like, a lot. Like, I wrote her and I told her, I was like, I will marry you, you know? I was like, we can, have kids if you want kids, we can work on that together, we can go to a sperm bank, I was like, but yeah, we're going to have to gradually get to know each other. And if in that process of gradually getting to know each other, we fall apart because we see that we're too different, then okay, but, that's the thing too, is like, she was all like, I'm asexual, and I was like, that's great, that's wonderful, and everything. And like, I found out a little bit more about her and stuff, dealing with that and everything. Not saying that she's that way because of some trauma or anything. She's like, it's not that. Or if it is, it's more like outcasted type stuff. And so I was like, I'll accept this about you as long as it's nothing that's going to like influence me, or not influence me, but cause me harm, I guess you'd say. And so she was like, all this time, for months, like, God, what is it? It's October. And in March and April, she was like, leave me alone. Just leave me alone. And I think it was in March that I walked over to her house. Like, and she lives a really long ways away. Oh, God, does she? My legs, whew. I called out of work the next day. I could not get the fuck out of bed. It was bad. Like, my legs were cramped up so bad. I literally woke up and could not move my legs. I didn't even move my legs to pick up my phone. Thank God my phone was in there. I would have cried if I would have had to have climbed out of bed to get my phone to call work and call out. God, would I have cried. Like, I literally woke up and tried to move my legs and was like, ain't happening. But, damn. Oh, Lord. But it's like, that's the way life is. You take chances, on what you think's worth it and everything. And, like, me and her had been bickering, and, like, I'd heard from one of her friends that she was crying, and I couldn't stand it. And, like, if you've watched my other videos, I don't have a vehicle. And, like, it was really tearing me up inside to know that she was upset. And, like, so I didn't want to involve people in our business, because she'd done that and then tried to throw it off on me. And I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, no, no. And so that's the reason, like, I didn't try to call somebody and be like, hey, can you give me a ride? Instead, I was like, fuck it, I'll walk. But about halfway, this stranger, this woman, stopped, and she's like, you need a ride? I'm afraid you're going to get hit by a car. It's really funny because I walked for 2 hours. But within the first 30 minutes, I about did get hit by a car. Like, this one car come up behind me, and, like, I was in my own world because I was stressing about her and about if I was doing the right thing. And I was like, damn, you're stupid for walking. And I was like, but I've done made the decision. I'm going to stick with it, I about got hit by a car. Thank God I didn't, I guess. But, anyways, back to being confused and all that, dealing with her. It's like, in the Bible, it talks against gays. And I thought to myself that today I might, I don't know, because there's a lot of things that I always think that I'm going to do that I never get around to, and that's another thing too, is I watched this video that was like, oh, time is precious, and make sure you're spending your time on what you want to spend your time on. And boy, when I watched that and I went to work last night, I was like, fixing to quit. I was like, fixing to quit, like, gonna quit. I hate this job. Like, I was so mad. Oh, Lord, I was so mad. But, I pushed through, and one of the managers actually pulled me aside and talked to me, and then I don't know how to tell when people are flirting with me or not, or when things or whatever, like, just simple things. Like, she didn't seem like she was, but, like, she was like, we need to get you somebody to be with, that way you'll be happy. And I was like, no. I'm so sick and tired of hearing that from people, because when I know I want somebody, that's who I want. I don't want nobody else. And then I'm mad at myself for that, because I fell into that shit with her now. And I'm like, fuck. Like, because she's not with me. So I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Why do I stay stuck on people? But then I like that quality about me. But, anyways, I was gonna look up, like, how many times, you could take scripture and you could apply it to not lying. And you could apply it to not, bearing false witness against your neighbor or against adultery or against anything, because that's one thing that I dealt with my neighbor, is that she lied. And it really pissed me off. And I'm like, I cut her out for it, because I was like, no, we don't lie around here. I was like, no, we don't do that, And so I cut her out for it, and then I kind of feel bad about it, but then I kind of don't. And so it's like a paradox of trying to figure out, like, how the hell I feel about everything, because you're supposed to forgive everybody. Well, if I forgive everybody that lies to me, and they keep lying to me, and a liar is a liar, like that's it, then how am I gonna do that? Because, like, she was out walking her dog the other day, and she just smiled at me, kind of like she obviously has no concept of how bad she hurt me in her, even though it was a little lie, and even though it's a lie she had to tell, she feels, to keep her home and everything, and I get that, and I saw, like, another friend or neighbor or whatever that was like, oh, well, you'll know that you have to do that sometimes to get through life. And I disagree with that so much. I really, really do. Like, I disagree with that so much. Like, if me telling you the truth is gonna get me kicked out of the home that I'm renting from you, tough shit. It's gonna get me kicked out of the home that I'm renting from you. Like, I can't. And then I thought, God, am I being stuck up? Am I being above that? And see, that's another thing too. This woman, it's obvious that she's against gays, and everything, even though she has some in her family. And she's like, oh, I accept them, and, but she really don't. And, I mean, I just thought to myself, we're all human. We're all going to commit sin. Who is anybody to condemn me for this being my sin of choice, And that's the thing too, is like, it's not a sin that has always been out of reach, for me. Like, being gay, like, that's the thing too. I swear to God, like, that's the reason in one video I was like, maybe I'm meant to be gay, because I've had this tomboyish attitude about me and everything. And I've had girls like me. There's actually a few lesbians in high school. There was actually this couple. I liked one of the girls, and then whenever I liked her, and then her girlfriend found out, and her girlfriend got mad at me at first, and then I pulled her aside, and I was like, don't get mad at me. Instead, be proud of what you do have, I was like, because I want that. I was like, but you got that. I was like, so appreciate that. I said that to her, and then next thing I know, I'm walking down the hallway one damn day, and she pinched my ass, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, oh my God. But I've had girls hit on me. Like, I've never had one kiss me or anything, but I've had girls hit on me. I've had plenty of girls hit on me. And I've had everybody in my family, like, from day one, I guess you'd say, is like, you're gay. You're gonna be gay, Like, my cousin, oh my God. Like, she used to tell me all the time, Heather, if you're gay, it's okay. And I'm like, I'm not gay. And I'm like, I slept with a dude and I liked it. And I was like, I'm not gay. And I was like, and I like the idea of making babies. I was like, I'm not gay, And she's like, well, just if you are, it's okay. And then her husband, like, what was he to her? Let's see, he was her third husband. Okay, well, first, let's back up. Her first husband probably thought I was, but I was so young at the time because I was like 11 that he just never said anything. Her second husband, when I was older, like, he kind of was like, yeah, like, I think she's gay. And, like, when I found out that he was, like, kind of in that mindset towards me, I actually, like, cried and took offense to it. Like, I was so mad because I was like, y'all asked me, and y'all see me dating guys, and I was like, let it be what it is, because that's like my mentality on everything. It is what it is. Like, that's my catchphrase. And her third husband, never had even like really met him. And when I met him, it was a bunch of drama. They were moving in a house out of their apartment. I mean, I'd met him, but not hung out with him and hung out with her with him and spent the night and stuff. So, anyways, this is when I had my miscarriage. So I called my cousin because I had nobody else. And she came and picked me up, and I was distraught. And she's like, come stay with me. So I went and stayed with her while they were moving out of their apartment and into the house. And I stayed with them, God, I don't know how long, like 3 days or longer. And this was the same time that my aunt got mad and called my daughter like toothless and shit and just being mean as hell and everything. Then we got into a fight, and then my dad didn't know I had a miscarriage. When I went back home, she told my dad, and my dad told me to get the fuck out. Like, it was just a bunch of damn drama because my aunt, oh my God, you stir a little bit with her, she gonna make sure to stir the whole fucking cream pot or what the fuck ever with you. Like, she gonna fuck shit up, and then she gonna sit there with a sinister smile and be like, I'm a Christian and I'm a good girl. Ooh. God, I'm gonna go to hell. Because I'm sitting here and, like, my aunt's been battling cancer for, like, 10 years. And, like, I love her because she's my aunt. But I sit there sometimes and I'm like, because you were an asshole, And I'm going to go to hell for thinking that, probably, if I don't get that mentality out of my head. But, I mean, it's kind of set there a little bit. But, and then I'm like, watch me done have it and not even know it. That's why I'm tired all the time. But I shouldn't speak shit like that over my life. So maybe I'm just tired all the time because my allergies, and it really is just dealing with my allergies. Because I really do think that if I could break my own heart to give up my pets, then I'd probably do a lot better. And if I could just get on Zyrtec and stay on it. But anyways, God, I get so sidetracked because I've been through so much. And I want to talk about everything. But, so back to the third husband. So me and my cousin, we're, staying up. And, like, my cousin's not above being promiscuous in one way. Like, she really ain't. And I'm cool with it. But not, like, cool with it. But, like, I'm cool with her being herself with people, But she ain't never with no. And then him even, made me, I was like, dude, really? But, so we stayed up one night with her sons upstairs, because they had an upstairs bedroom, and they were scared because they'd seen something. And so we went up there and we said a few prayers and everything, because, I mean, they just moved into the house. And I've seen weird shit, not recently or anything, but like twice in my life. And so I was like, and I actually had like a premonition vision, I guess you'd say, while I was there. And I was like, I kind of sensed something too. I was like, so let's pray, So we stayed up there with the boys until they fell asleep. Well, we just stayed up there and we got to talking. And that's one thing about me. Like, I know how to have a good time without being high. I really fucking do. Like, I can't all the time, but when I'm having a good time, you'll think I'm high as fuck, and I won't be on shit. Like, I won't be on a damn thing. And I can get you that happy too. And you ain't on shit. Like, that's one thing, like, I've always valued whenever I've hung out with my sister sometimes. And I've got her to laughing at me, at something I said or did or whatever. And then we're both laughing and we just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And that's the way I'd get with my cousin, but I got that way with her more often than I ever have my sister. So this night, in particular, we are sitting there, and I swear to God, we're like laughing the house down. Like, we cannot shut the fuck up. Like, we literally can't. And she been up there with me for like 3 hours trying to calm the boys down, So if she did smoke weed, it was like way ahead of time. Me, I ain't done shit. And we're sitting there fucking laughing. Well, her husband comes up there 3 goddamn times. First 2 times he comes up there and he's like, what y'all doing? And we're like, nothing, and he's like, okay. And he went down and we lost it. It was like, like, we just fucking lost it. Because, like, his look, his expression, what are y'all doing, And we just looked at each other when he left and was like, oh my God, what the fuck, So he come up there another time and he's like, what, what's so funny? So we told him one of the jokes and he laughed and chuckled and then he just shook his head and he went back down. And he come up the 3rd time and he like lingered and he like leaned up on the bed, and was listening to me talk and he was just like, and then he'd look at Misty, and he'd look back at me, and then he just got up and was like, well, I'm going to go downstairs and try to get some sleep, And then I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Are we keeping you up? And he's like, no. He's like, I just can't sleep. So we go downstairs that morning because we didn't sleep at all that night. So I guess that was a little bit of sleep deprivation kicking in too. And we go downstairs at like 5:30 and we're like, we're going to fix a huge breakfast for the boys. Hell yeah. And we fixed like pancakes and bacon and eggs and like everything, like toast, just like we cooked, and we was like kind of teasing down there, but we wasn't like, we'd kind of died down and everything. So her husband comes out of the room and he's like, he's like, I don't know what the deal is. He's like, but I like you, Heather. And I was like, well, thank you. And I was like, why you say that? And he said, because you make her happy. And I said, I know I do. I said, that's the reason me and her get along so well. And he said, no. He said, I really see why, she values you, And I said, well, I value her too. I said, so it goes both ways, But, so the boys, they come down, they ate, we got them to school, and we're standing there later on with her husband, and her husband had a daughter, and his daughter come over. That's another thing too, man. Y'all stole my kid's DVD, my kid's favorite DVD that I'd brought over for her to watch, her Barney DVD, and she was 2, and it took me until she was 7 to find another one. And she didn't even hardly like it anymore or remember it. Yet used to, she'd watch that thing into the ground, and y'all stole it to give it to y'all's 8-month-old baby. Like, piss me the fuck off. Like, my kid was so happy when she got that for her birthday. I actually have a picture of her, like, she's holding that Barney DVD, and she's smiling ear to ear. And she loved that video. And y'all fucking stole that from her. Y'all are shitheads for that. Like, y'all are horrible people in my mind for doing that. My baby has always had shit like that happen to her. Like, that's like, she had this light up ladybug that crawled. And my grandmother got it for around Christmas time, I think. And my niece broke it by Valentine's Day. My daughter loved that fucking toy, and my niece broke it. Like, picked it up and just slammed it down on the ground. And nobody even got onto her. Like, her family didn't even get onto her. And then that's another thing, too. Like, there was this spider that I bought for that had ABCs and all. Man, my kid's been through shit. Like, not only has she been through shit because of just normal crap, like her dad not being there and everything. Every time that kid has liked something, like really enjoyed, like I'm talking extreme enjoyment out of a thing, a possession, it's fucked. That's just like her cat Jet. Like, he got ran over by the fucking mailman of all goddamn people. Like, you're the mailman. There's a mailbox not even 7 feet from ours. And you ran over our cat, man. Damn. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked because I've been through a lot of shit. So I get angry about it still because I've never been able to express all the feelings and the emotions because I have to keep them bottled up. Like, I mean, when her cat died, I remember I actually when I told her, because, like, he hit him that morning. And when I told her, like, because she'd done been through so much trauma and so had I, my face, like, I was trying not to, but, like, my face, like, and, I mean, I know that they've said something about, brain damage, can cause this and that, and, like, whenever I threw myself off the bleachers and shit and everything, but it wasn't that. It was that I was trying to make it not be a big deal, and I know that sounds fucked up, and even looking back on it, I'm like, holy shit, I fucked up my kid. Because when I told her, I was like, hey, baby, and she's like, what? And I'm like, I got some not so good news, And she's like, what? And, like, that was my expression. And I was like, this morning, after you went to school, I was like, I went out to get the mail, and the mailman was sitting out there, and I was wondering why. And I said, honey, it was right where his mama died, And I said, so, he wasn't alone. And I mean, at that, like she just, she done figured, And I was like, he's out on the back porch. And I was like, Jet died. And I was like, but it's okay. It's okay. And that was my expression. Like, I was kind of smiling. And I was like, it's okay, though. He's in heaven with his mom. And, like, I was smiling. And she's like, why are you smiling? And I'm like, because I don't want you to cry, And, man, like, fuck me up real good. And fuck her up real good. Like, damn. Like, but anyways. Come back to my train of thought. So, back to my cousin, her husband, or whatever. We drop the kids off, or whatever. We get back there, or they caught the bus. I can't even remember, because I was there several mornings. But, we're standing there. Dude's daughter comes in to help, supposedly, unpack. And I'm introduced to him and everything. And, like, they're looking at me like they think I'm gay. And I'm like, there's just this look that people give you sometimes. And I was like, oh, great. Somebody thinks that I'm gay because I got a hat on and this and that, and everything else or whatever. Because sometimes I look like I'm wearing dude's clothes. And sometimes I am. So I was just like, and as a matter of fact, I think I had on, even though me and him hadn't been together in a minute, I had on my kid's dad's shorts or whatever. And, so, he's like, he said something along the lines, like, I guess he noticed they looked at me like I was gay too or whatever, because he said something along the lines when we got on the topic. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, this is Heather, and they're like, oh, and they're standing there and everything, and I think he said, so what's the deal with you and your boyfriend? Like, he brought up my boyfriend, and I was like, oh, we don't, I was like, nah, we ain't going down that road, and he's like, oh, and then they popped off, and they was like, oh, you have a boyfriend, and I was like, yeah, or did, and they're like, oh, And they're like, oh, okay. And I said, uh-huh. I said, you thought I was gay, didn't you? And they're like, well, and I was like, it's all right. And they was like, we're so sorry. And then whenever they said that, he was like, yeah, he's like, I thought you was gay too. He's like, I literally did. And he's like, and Misty, she kind of hinted that she wasn't sure, and everything. And he said, that's the reason I kept coming upstairs last night. And I was like, what? And he's like, well, I was afraid you stealing my wife from me. And I was like, what? And I was like, dude, she's my cousin. I was like, really? And he's like, well, you never know. And I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, Misty, he's great for you. I was like, y'all gonna work out perfectly. I was like, oh shit. I was like, y'all got the same demented fucking mind that goes to the same, shot the fuck out shit. And I was just like, no, no. And he's like, that's the reason I kept coming upstairs to see what y'all was doing. He said, because you had her laughing and giggling and squealing and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, just know how to make her have a good time. And then I thought about the way that sounded, and I was like, oh, shit. I was like, damn. But, so anyways, so people have always, kind of thrown off, that they think that I'm gay and everything. And, like, my parents even kind of have. And, like, I guess that's the reason my grandmother, when I did call her finally and talk to her yesterday, she was like, your buddy, because she's thinking it's this older woman, because this older woman has a name that's similar to the girl that I actually did fall in love with. And another thing too is, like, my grandmother knows that I can tie a cherry stem in a knot, because I was really bored. Like, she would buy maraschino cherries, and they'd have the stems on them, and, like, my grandmother's a pervert anyways, like, literally, like, she has pinched the asses of my brother-in-law and my sister's boyfriends, and she's even talked about how handsome my husband was in the face and stuff like that. Like, my grandmother's really perverted, like, really. And, like, her sister used to come over and visit, and I'm talking sex jokes out the ass end, and used to make me so uncomfortable and stuff. And, like, when I was little and I'd try to ask what that meant, like, they just bust out laughing, like, and stuff. But, my grandmother was like, why are you doing that? Whenever, and she's like, you can't do that. And I was like, bet. Watch. And, I'd take and tie it and everything. And so I got in a habit of just doing it every time I ate a cherry, and everything. And, like, she was like, oh, that's a sign of a good kisser. Oh, that's a sign of this. Oh, that's a sign of that and everything. And then that's another thing, too, is I can put my tongue in the shape of a 3-leaf clover, and, like, supposedly that's supposed to be a sign of a good kisser and everything. And I'm just like, well, I'm made the way God made me, however the fuck that is and everything. But, I don't know. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying truth. Like, I used to be able to do that. Like, I don't know if I can even do that anymore with a cherry stem. Like, but I did when I was living with my grandmother, like, 4 years ago. Like, literally, because she'd keep buying them, and I keep eating cherries, and, like, it just became a habit. And she would look at me, and she'd be like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I'm bored. There's nothing. You won't let me watch the TV in the living room and watch what I want. So I come sit out on the porch, because it's kind of quiet out here, peaceful. I'm hungry, I'm eating, and I'm bored. And I always wondered if I could do it, and so I started doing it, and I figured out I could, and I was like, hell yeah. I was kind of a little proud of myself. But, anyways. So back to the whole confusion thing, and the whole reason I'm shooting this video and everything is, like, I'm confused on, okay, we're all human, right? We're all gonna sin, right? So that's the reason I'm so mad at this girl, kinda, is I'm like, I could have chose being with you as my sin. And as long as you know what your sin is and you accept it, it's like this greatness kind of comes into your life to a degree, because it's like, okay, this is what I do wrong. God forgive me for it, but I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to live with it, and I'm going to stay dedicated to it. And then because this is what I'm doing wrong, all this other shit is going to be good and to the best of my ability. And granted, I mean, you're still going to fuck up, but not in that degree, And so life kind of falls into place, And it's like, that's been the thing with me ever since I've been living here, is it's like I've tried to be perfect. And then it drove me mad, like fucking insane, because like I'm a single mom, don't have a car, don't have no way to get out. I even tried to find, first year here, which was, so that's 2.5, 3 years ago, because I'm on my 4th year lease. So 3 years ago, so within the first year and a half, because it was like a year and a half of being here, because I was working, anyways. Yeah, a year and a half. There was this dude that I had went out with like 5.5 years ago on a date. And it wasn't a date, like he tried and like shit didn't happen, but like we kissed and made out. And I was like, because I've not been with a lot of people, and I was like, well, I done kissed him. Eh, and I was like, people talk about, going out and like using people, I guess you'd say, having buddies and shit. I actually had this one girl that I worked with. She was like, that's what you need. I'm going to get you one. Like, she was very pushy about it. And she's like, I had one before I got married and my husband knows about it. And, and I was just like, that's not me though, And so I was so stressed out because I was trying to be perfect and everything, that I was like, maybe I'll let this be my sin of choice or whatever. So I called dude up and I was like, hey, and he's like, yeah, we'll hang out, and everything. But then, like, because he's got some, man, everybody, like I said, you gotta have issues to get along with me, though. So, I mean, I guess that's why we got along in the first place, that first time, But this time, like, he just pissed me the fuck off because he got paranoid as fuck because he's got, like, a lot of people that's, like, fucked him over. And so he's like, how do I know this is you? Because I had just like a regular little phone and I couldn't take pictures. And I was like, dude, it's me, and everything. And like, he didn't care enough to risk, He thought it was like a practical joke, I guess. And it's like, dude, it wasn't, and you missed out. but But I mean, at the same time, you probably didn't or whatever, like not trying to discredit myself or anything or my value as a person, and stuff, but like everything's meant to happen, gonna happen. And that's what I even said to him. Because me and him, we talked for like 3 days, and he's like, well, he's like, well, what are we gonna do for as far as protection, And I was like, well, that's gonna be on you. I was like, cause I ain't got shit, and I can't afford. And I was like, no. And I was like, that's all on you. And I was like, but here's the question to you. I said, what if I get pregnant? I said, am I on my own raising the kid? I said, cause in all honesty, I done been on my own raising my other kid. I said, so it won't be nothing to me. I said, but you gotta tell me, before we reach that point, if we reach that point, And he's like, no, man, we'll raise it together. He's like, because that'll be half my baby, I was like, okay, cool. We set, legit, And then he backed the fuck out. And then he's like, how do I know that this ain't, no game? And boy, that pissed me off because we've been talking 3 days and he done stood me up once, I guess you could say. Kinda. Like, he was like, oh, I'll be there at this time. And then, like, I had somebody call and be like, hey, we're going here. You want to come? And I was like, well, if it flakes out with him and I don't go, I'm going to feel bad. So I was like, fuck, I'll go and tell him this is where I'm at. So I told him, I was like, dude, I'm up here. And he's like, well, I won't be able to anyways. And I was like, okay, whatever. But then he's like, tomorrow, tomorrow came and went, and that's when he flipped the fuck out on me. And he's like, how do I know this ain't a joke and a gimmick? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, boy, bring your ass over here and I'll beat it for you. Like, I was so mad. I was like, fuck you. I was like, ah. Like, I'm really going to waste 3 days talking to you just to be lying. Like, damn, you're shot the fuck out. Go smoke another one. But, so anyways, it's like, that's one thing too, like about my husband when we was together. He was like, you're so perfect. And that's one thing that one of my managers was talking to me about over here, is like, he's had people get with him, supposedly. Now, he might have just been playing on my shit, because I've talked to him a lot. But he's like, I get with these girls, and he's like, and they tell me that I'm so perfect, and they don't know why I've been single so long, and and then he's like, and eventually my true colors come out, and when I do, they leave me. And I'm like, I fucking know, dude. I'm like, I fucking know. I fucking get it. And I'm like, me, it's my temper. Like, I will say shit that will hurt your feelings. Because I get mad. Because I get hurt. Because I'm very sensitive. And so I will hurt your feelings verbally. Not action-wise, but just verbally. Like, I'm very vicious, I guess you'd say. And, like, kids don't even cross that line with me because they can sense that that's my one sinful thing, I guess. Even my own child. Like, I'll just be like, I've had it. Get your ass in your room and leave me alone. And it's like, ooh, mama mad, like, okay, about 30 minutes later, come back out, and I'm like, okay, he left me alone. And that's the thing, is like, with adults, people I've been in relationships with, I'll be like, leave me alone. And they're like, but what's wrong? And I'm like, leave me alone. And they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you don't want to know. I'm like, you don't want to know all the thoughts inside my head. I'm like, leave me alone. And they never do. And then I hurt their feelings, and they're like, why would you say that? Or why would you think that about me? Or that's so mean. And then I'm just like, I told you to leave me alone. Like, oh, God. That's like my biggest flaw or whatever. It's like, I get really mean. Like, because, I was raised by somebody who's physically mean and emotionally mean and definitely verbally, like, just, like, bad. And so I got that skill in me. I guess is the best way to word it. But, oh, shit. But it's like that's my thing or whatever. But, my husband, he was like, you're perfect. I want to be the clone of you. And then he left, and then he's like, you're mean, you hurt my feelings, and I'm like, make up your mind, which one did I do? I'm else perfect, or I hurt your feelings, because you're not letting me be in the middle and be human, so pick one, stick with it, and get the fuck out of my way. Because if you think I'm perfect, it ain't gonna work out. And if you think I'm mean and hateful, and even this girl, she kind of threw off, and she's like, oh, you're a temptress, or something like that. I don't know what she called me, because I deleted all of our messages, because I'd go back and read them all the time, and it was becoming an unhealthy obsession, because I would cry and shit and everything, and it was just building a delusion, like a delusional world of like, oh, where we could be if we were happy, and she wasn't, mad.